Personal finance expert and MeVest founder Lesley-Anne Scorgi joining us on Canada Now. And Lesley-Anne, your latest article in the Star discusses getting organized early for your taxes. It's that time of year.
Who likes to talk about taxes? Nobody, right? Well, the good news is that this is a lot easier this year to prepare for if we do the work in advance. So I get it. 2020 was like the weirdest financial year of all time for everybody. But the point of starting early is that hopefully you'll be able to navigate any nuances. So for example, let's say you were one of those folks who actually collected one of the pandemic benefits and it was a taxable benefit. By the way, I hope that doesn't surprise anyone here who's listening. Almost all of the benefits that were dished out are taxable with a few rare exceptions. But like really the idea here is like, let's get ready. Let's plan in advance so that you are 100% prepared for whatever comes your way.
But wouldn't there have been some that by mistake would have said, hey, I'm cashing in on that. I need help too, but they actually weren't eligible for those benefits?
Oh yeah, so unfortunately we are starting to see that happen. So in December, you probably saw in the news, the CRA was starting to like call people and say, hey, you weren't really eligible for this, so can we have our money back? There's a few problems with that. The money was dished out like quite a number of months ago. And last time I checked, for the majority of people, that's like burning holes through your pocket, right? It's gone. So that's one of the issues. But the other issue is like you may not actually be able to pay it back. So some good news here is that the CRA is willing to work with those who applied, received the benefits, shouldn't have, and now they're asking for it back. They're going at those people and saying like, let's work together here to try and get these benefits back. Now, don't even get me started. There are a whole bunch of people that did apply for the benefits, like knowing that they should not have, and they took that money instead. And they do have like a category for that called fraudulent claims. And right now they're just being treated the same way, like you got to pay it back. So yeah, I'm sorry if that's you, whether you meant to or you didn't need to, but if you weren't supposed to get it, you got to give it back.
Well, look, and if you do owe money for whatever reason, like in the same vein, Lesley-Anne, that's why for years I've always been like, January is when I start thinking about taxes. I'm not waiting till March. I'm not waiting till April or whatever. Like I'm starting to think about it in January. I'm getting my ducks in a row because I wanted to make sure that if I were owing money, that I would put some kind of plan in place to make sure I would be able to pay it back. Now, it's not as if I've ever gone through a year where it's like, oh my goodness, I'm paying back thousands and thousands of dollars. That's never happened with me. But on the off chance, maybe a couple of grand or something, I don't want to have to all of a sudden go, wow, I just lost a couple of grand now. I've got to pay this right away. I want to make sure that I've got some kind of plan in place in case I need it.
You're talking about buffer room, and like with most things in life, buying yourself a tiny bit of extra time can really pay off. So hence, I started talking about taxes this week and didn't wait until February or March to have this conversation, because the more organized you can be, the better. But let's actually talk about some specifics. Right now, and over the course of the next 5 weeks, most of your tax forms, not all, but the bulk of them are actually going to start to arrive. And you may have them arriving by snail mail, or they could be like in your inbox. So if you had an intranet at work, your T4 is probably located there. If you have online banking, maybe your T-slips are inside the portal of the online banking system. And also you may even find your RRSP contribution receipts in that same system. Now, if you are one of those people who is like collecting the CERB or EI, you are getting a special tax slip, which you can find in your CRA portal. And those are called T4A and T4E slips. So here's the scoop. is like all of this stuff is coming your way right away. So it's time to get organized.
Yeah, organized with a folder if they are tangible things that you are getting, and if not, if it's everything's online or something, have some kind of folder available on your laptop or something, and just keep pushing everything into there and have things organized.
Totally. So let me talk about another whole category of things that you're going to have to get organized. So some things are actually not mailed to you. Like, let's say you paid for things like childcare, or you updated your home office this year because you had to. You were working from home. Or perhaps you've even incurred expenses to like maintain a professional license, or you had medical costs that were in the thousands. All of those receipts are on you to now find and file so that you can get organized for your return. So I'm not kidding you. If you don't ask, you won't get. When it comes to the CRA, it's on you. So if you want these credits that are actually available to you, like the medical tax credit, the work from home credit, it's on you. You're going to have to grab those receipts.
And keep in mind, as you mentioned in your piece in the Star, Lesley-Anne, lifestyle changes affect your taxes. If you had a kid, if you got married, you're checking off a lot of boxes in the past.
I know.
But if you've had any kind of a lifestyle change, to keep that in mind, because it's certainly going to affect your taxes.
It sure will. Like, for example, if you're a new parent, you got to file your taxes in order to get the Canada Child Benefit and any of the pandemic top-ups for that. So there's so much more there available for you, but you've got to say in your CRA portal, like, hey, I became a parent. Maybe you tied the knot like I did, and I had a kid. And, you know, there's tax credits for that too. But here's the scoop, is if you tied the knot, you have to talk to your spouse about money now. Haha. If you were like avoiding this conversation, that's over now. You actually have to file your taxes together as a team. So welcome to financial transparency. Often it's going to start right here, but it's so important that you and your spouse are talking about that. Now, let's also talk about like home ownership. That's a huge life event. And like you might actually qualify for the first time home buyer credit and or the GST, HST housing rebate. Like there's so many big life changes that can affect your taxes. Some of them are negative too, like becoming divorced or ill, or if you lost a spouse, maybe you started a business, that's positive. If that's you, like you absolutely will want to consult with a tax professional to make sure that you get what's yours this season.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, how does one best go about checking to see if they've got all of the receipts and slips that they should have?
So the good thing is in CRA My Account, which is your personal portal. Like, by the way, the CRA is totally digital now. Then they're not going back to paper. So all of the details of your T slips are actually located within the portal. So you can go back years in time and find slips from back then. That's a perfect place for you to start. Like, am I missing anything? Well, if you are, it's going to be located in there on the T-slip side of things. But honestly, my best advice is like, have a look at what happened in previous years, because we all have those files sitting at home. Have a look, because your tax return is probably going to look really similar. So if, for example, you had a tax slip from, let's say, Sun Life in 2017, 18, and 19, guess what you should be looking for in 2020 taxes? That same slip, especially if you haven't changed providers, you should be getting something. That's a great way to go about it. Excellent.
Absolutely. Check out mevest.ca, personal finance expert, Mevest founder, and Baby Hank's mom, Lesley-Anne Scorgi. Lesley-Anne, it's always a pleasure. Appreciate this. And thank you for the reminder of what we need to be doing right about now. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Jeff.
All right.